Hi and welcome to today's horror movie sequel review. And today I have my good friend Joakim with me.
Hello,
Yeah,
I'm here.
he felt a bit witchy today because we're reviewing Blair Witch 2, Book of Shadows. So it's from 2000, it's from the US. It's directed by Joe Berlinger, written by Joe Berlinger, Dick Bebe, characters by Daniel Myrick and Eduardo Sanchez. And yes, that is my cat roaming around,
Yeah.
so yeah.
She's
And
keeping track of us.
yes. And starring Jeffrey Donovan, Stephen Barker Turner, Erica Eliason, Kurt Loder, and Kim Director, among a lot of people. So in this one, we have a lot of people who are kind of obsessed or inspired by the first Blair Witch Project movie. So they are kind of fans, and a group of people go to the Burkittsville in Maryland, the forest, to check out some of the mythology behind the Blair Witch project, the first movie and the whole witchy mythology. But weird things start to happen, and they think they are all going insane. Yeah, basically. But
are they?
Yeah, that's the question.
Yeah.
So I saw this first, I think, in 2002. So this was my first rewatch since 2002. So, I had no recollection of the movie at all. I didn't particularly like the first, when I saw it the first time. So, I was like, well, I want to rewatch it, but I don't think it's going to be good. But I have to say, I found it to be a bit better. Not good, but just a bit more interesting than when I first saw it.
Yeah, I mean, it's been pretty much butchered by producers and network executives and stuff. So it's hard to give it the fair treatment it deserves. Because there's something really interesting, because it says from the get-go that it's an reenactment of what happened 1 year after the Blair Witch released. So even in the movie, it doesn't claim that these are the actual people. It's like one step removed from reality, but still in the zeitgeist, so to speak.
Yeah, and I think just because they were going with this whole line that everything was just, is it happening or isn't happening? And it felt just a bit too much of that all the time. And I don't think that they included a lot of things which they kind of threw away later. They didn't come back to it and explain that. So it just felt very messy. I don't know if that was intentional or if the script was kind of lacking or the editing or whatever, but it felt messy and a lot of stuff got forgotten, which should have been included more for just a better resolution.
Yeah, I read that Blair Witch was such a big success, so this basically was a rush job. They kept writing the script as they filmed.
Yeah, it felt like a rush job.
And in the end, I mean, it's clear that it's full of ambition from the director, Joe Berlinger, yeah. And he was going for something, but in the end, they remixed it until it didn't make any sense. Yeah, really.
I mean, there is a lot of potential. There are some interesting takes and things thrown in there, but it just felt so rushed. And the ending isn't really satisfying. It kind of just, I felt I had more questions than answers, and I felt it should have been the other way around with a lot of things. So yeah, definitely the script felt rushed, and it was lacking. The story was lacking. I mean, the actors did what they could with what they had, and I always enjoy watching Erica Larison. She was also in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, and the characters, they were fine. They were okay. I mean, you got to know them pretty well, and you even felt for some of them, but yeah.
I mean, when they give the characters some room to just talk, it's pretty good, and you get a clear clear scope of the vision they had, because they distinctly make a point to discuss Wiccans and Gothic girls.
Because that was a huge thing at that moment.
Yeah, and try to explain how Wiccans aren't really like Satanists, witches that worships the devil. He just tries to get them some well-deserved legitimacy because of what the original movie cost.
Yeah.
And there's other social commentary stuff. It's very, since it's a movie about, and the Blair Witch 1 is an actual movie within, or actual documentary within the world. It's like so many layers of meta, and you really notice that the producers sort of messed it up with MTV editing and switching music and stuff, and so many plot lines were just left. There's a girl that appears spookily a couple times.
Yeah, I was just about to say that they have like a ghostly apparition. She appears a couple of times throughout the movie, and then they just leave that. And honestly, since they did that, I felt that they could have cut that out from the movie entirely. Those scenes with her, since they really did nothing, didn't really propel the movie forward or give some sort of
just exists.
She just exists. And when we were going to get to the big, climax and finale, we're like, oh, we're gonna see, what happened? And I didn't feel that it made the impact it was meant to do, so to speak.
I feel like the ending was one of the better parts of the movie, actually. I mean, it begins pretty solidly, and then it just muddled. But the ending is, I think it's pretty close to what they were going for, and it sort of hits home for me, ties it together. But since they messed up the chronology in editing, it was like meant to be a linear movie, and watch stuff unfurl and change the whole tone of the movie into like almost a comedy in the beginning that turns sinister.
Yeah, the tone wasn't.
They
really...
mixed in the gore scenes from later into early scenes.
Yeah, the tone was a bit weird in places. It didn't have like a fine red line throughout the entire movie, which was a shame. And we'll get flashes of stuff, and as I said, it felt really messy. But I did like, as I said, in the beginning, the first 10-20 minutes, I think they were kind of solid.
Yeah.
The group were, going to the place, the forest, and then they meet this other group. And that was quite comedic, in my opinion. And I kind of like the kind of chemistry or little rivalry between them.
Yeah.
So it was a shame that they didn't utilize that more.
Yeah, that our group is just dropped from the plot, basically.
Yeah, it was like...
Not exactly, but they don't have any more lines.
Yeah, they could have been used better, yeah.
But I read that, speaking of the spooky girl, she sort of has a payoff in the wider sense of things, because the whole thing about Blair Witch was website and stuff, and that girl, Eileen Treacle or something, she's name dropped on a grave in the beginning.
Yeah, but it is very hard to notice.
And if you go, because older versions of the DVD and stuff had a feature called The Secret of S-Rever, which is reverse in reverse. And in some way, there were clues strewn out through the movie, which in turn unlocked a secret website which contained clips of that sad girl.
Okay.
I did some YouTube sleuthing before because I remembered. And I mean, so I think she does feature in the website material around the release.
But it's like, if you don't know this, then it's not as fun, or it's not as like, oh, okay, because you get to know a lot of things. If you've read some of things that you see in the movie, like a guy, he has his tools in the shape of the Blair Witch stick. But if you don't know that, you might miss it, and other things like that. So yeah, you have to read a little.
Yeah, and it's a shame because The Secret of S River, they were like clues strewn through the movie, which was like subliminal messages. They were like letters or weird things happening, and I feel like most of them they could have just left in because it's like a spooky Easter egg, sort of like Haunting of Hill House ghosts in the new series.
Exactly.
And I mean, I'm sure lots of websites are now defunct.
Yeah.
So it didn't make sense for them to keep them in, but there's compilations of early edits.
Yeah. But here is my edition of the movie. I bought it a long time ago, as I said, in 2002, I think. So yeah, one disc, a pretty boring edition. You know, special features only at trailers.
Not even interactive menus.
Not even, no.
No, so. It had interactive menus. The menus were pretty solid because it's like, it's a video loop. Yeah, I haven't seen it for like 20-something years either.
Yeah.
I watched it like 3 or 4 times back in the days. Because I was with someone that was very into this movie.
Okay.
And I don't recall if any of those clues or Easter eggs were in it.
Okay.
Or I didn't. I wasn't quite up to the hype of it, so I didn't look for them either. So.
Yeah. Well, based on everything that I've said, I'm giving this one I would give it a 4 out of 10. I think the first time I watched it, I gave it a 1 out of 10. So, you know, I was very harsh. But there were a few things that I kind of enjoyed and I saw potential.
Yeah.
So I can't say that it's horrible. But 4 out of 10, you know, it could have been a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, I read that there's like fan edits that tries to restore the original intention. And they could be really interesting to check out, I'm sure, if I just haven't seen the movie recently. But I'm gonna give it like 5 out of 10.
Okay. Fairly close, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's just a shame there's so much wasted potential. And it didn't lead to a trilogy. I mean, there technically is a trilogy, but they were meant to come out not 15 years later instead of...
They were meant to be a Blair Witch 3, like kind of soon after, not like 15 years as you said after.
And they like built the lore around these, and they had like free video games that were released to tie in. So yeah, but it's a fun watch. It's very, is it 2000? No, 1999.
2000.
It's yeah. Blair Witch is 99. Yeah. And it's 1 year later. Yeah, it's very, very 2000.
Yeah, very
movie.
with the music and with the feeling
and,
of the early 2004
the classic
movies.
goth girl.
Yeah.
And of course, there's like they had to throw in some boobies for the MTV crowd.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was our take on Blair Witch 2: Book of Shadows.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for joining me, Joachim.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. And if you've seen the movie, please let us know your own thoughts in the comments below. Did you like the sequel or do you hate the sequel?
Yeah.
Let us know. And
in the comment field down below there.
Yes. Bye. Stay spooky.
Take care.